On February the 2nd, 2019, DJ Christopher Comstock, under his stage name Marshmello, performed in front of 10 million people, which makes this the most attended concert in history, beating Rod Stewart's 3.5 million attendees to his New Year's Eve concert on Copacabana Beach in Rio de Janeiro in 1994 by a whopping 6.5 million. Except this Marshmello concert never really happened. Pleasant Park is not a real place, no matter how attended it was. Yet, there is no denying that this event, no matter how digital it was, changed live music and what a concert is. When this was being planned in 2019, Epic Games, the developers of Fortnite, didn't know that in 1 year, a global pandemic would come, leading to the real venues that artists were meant to be performing at closing down, and making the Fortnite island quite a destination for popular artists, hoping to turn V-Bucks into real money. And here's how it all happened. Let's try and answer the question of what happened to live music and how Fortnite made it more expensive. The year prior, on May 8th, 2018, Fortnite had their first real collaboration with a company outside of their own, that being the Infinity Gauntlet limited time mashup that was a tie-in with the Infinity War movie. And this must have been very successful, as the game seemingly recalibrated their whole approach to go in this new direction. This is what started these live concerts with real-world artists. Why they chose Marshmello as the first artist is unknown. I guess the fact that he wears a mask, it is fairly easy to implement him into the game, but nevertheless, it's clear that this live concert was a huge success for both Marshmello and Fortnite, with both at the time seeing their peaks of popularity, all thanks to this event. But this was far from the first digital concert of its kind. A year prior, in 2018, a Coachella concert was hosted in Minecraft on a live server where attendees could watch the various sets over 2 different stages built in the game. And it is not just new artists getting in on these digital concerts. In fact, the oldest professional orchestra group in England, the Royal Liverpool Philharmonic Orchestra, in 2007 performed in the game's second life, alongside bands like Duran Duran, as well as a BBC One Big Weekend event, all happening around that time in their own digital worlds. But back to that original question, are these really concerts? They all seem to be marketed as such, but let's face it, are they really anything more than a slightly interactive live stream? With the price of tickets, especially when dynamic pricing comes into play, it makes sense why these concerts would be so popular. And with Epic Games finding ways to essentially sell digital merch to fans of these events, it makes sense that they can be profitable for both Epic and the artists they choose to partner with, who, up until this point, haven't had a lot of ways to make money off their music outside of live performances, especially in the world of streaming. And due to the pandemic, lots of these concerts, normally a backbone for the industry, were put on hold, so it makes sense why we saw such an uptick in the amount of these live music collaborations that happened, along with artists trying to get themselves into Fortnite. And if you've watched any of my videos before, you'll know that the music industry will stop at nothing when there is a new way to make money. Since Marshmello was featured in the game, the musicians and artists that the game has implemented have seemed to have no end. In fact, it's best just to name them all. After Marshmello, the characters featured on many of the major Laser album covers were added to the game. Then Travis Scott, Ariana Grande, then J Balvin, then 2 more Marshmello skins were added, and that's not even the end, they added another one later. Then both Bruno Mars and Anderson .Paak skins were added as Silk Sonic, but Bruno Mars would go on to have his own skins added to the game as well. Then added was the Kid Laroi. Eminem was then added with 3 different skins. The Weeknd was then added, then Lady Gaga, Billie Eilish. Then all of Metallica was added, Karol G, Snoop Dogg, Ice Spice, and with his mother's blessing, skins of Juice WRLD were added posthumously to the game. Mariah Carey was added to the game, alongside Hatsune Miku, Sabrina Carpenter, deadmau5, who also got his own inclusion in Minecraft 15 years prior. Gorillaz and Daft Punk were added, as well as Huntrix, if you count them, what with them being from a film. Doja Cat was added to the game, and most recently, Tyler the Creator. And as of recording this video, they've just announced that Lisa will be coming to Fortnite, literally the day this video comes out. I'm sure you can agree that that is quite the list, and if you add all of them up, the skins alone would cost 102,500 V-Bucks, which, if we count the 1,000 V-Bucks as being $8.99, all of those skins would cost around $925, or, shockingly, just under 6.5 years of access to Spotify Premium. And it's when you look at it like this that you realise the full amount of money that can be made from these artist collaborations with the game. Those numbers there don't include any of the other accessories or even jam tracks that are sold alongside these skins that we will talk about later. I mean, look at just the Metallica skins alone. If you were to buy all of them, it would cost you around 13,200 V-Bucks. Even the most dedicated Metallica fan would think twice before paying that much for merchandise that is locked inside of a video game. This goal to bring Fortnite and music closer together reached new heights in 2021 when it was announced that Harmonix was bought by Epic Games. Harmonix, whilst not recognisable on their own, they have had a big impact, what with Harmonix being the developers behind the now iconic Rock Band and Guitar Hero franchises. Their acquisition by Epic Games was to add Fortnite Festival to the game, a new game mode that is basically just what Harmonix are known for, basically a music-based rhythm game. The ability to remix songs from their game Fuser was also added to Fortnite through the use of buyable jam tracks. I mean, this all makes sense. The game already has artists and dances, so why not add their music as well? These jam tracks, as Epic calls them, were included in the game shop, which allowed players to buy songs for use in almost all game modes, but also allowed them to be played in this new Fortnite Festival game mode in particular. It also allows the songs to be changed as you're playing them, so let's say you mess up the rhythm part of the singing, the singer will stop singing in the background of the track that you're playing. However, with all this Harmonix technology being added to the game, the studio's other projects were also shut down, with Fuser being discontinued a year after the Epic Games acquisition, and with Guitar Hero 4 getting its last DLC in 2024, with the company announcing on their website that if you are a fan of the rhythm game category, Fortnite Festival is the place to be. Well, provided you're willing to buy all your favourite songs again. It is interesting to me that in a world where people are buying less and less music, instead resorting to streaming, Epic Games of all people, through Fortnite of all things, have their own little digital music store going, selling tracks for 500 V-Bucks each, which works out to $4.50 a track, which is a far cry from the 99-cent tracks of the iTunes era. To name every artist that has been added to the game, either through skins, jam tracks, emotes, or all three, would be a Sisyphean task, with new calibrations being added every update. But I do have to wonder, is it so bad? For years now, artists have been looking for ways to, well, sell their actual music, which 15 years ago they would have done anyway, and was the industry standard way that artists made money. But the fact that they can't make nearly as much as they used to from music sales alone, themselves, as I talk about in both my videos on Spotify and Apple Music, is the reason why we have seen the price of live music skyrocket, as the music industry sets that price still, not the streaming companies. And yet, it is here in this partnership with Epic Games where the music industry has found a way to sell music again, no matter how strange it is. Well, the big artists have, anyway. A small indie band, which for years now has been facing the same closure of real life venues, don't have a shot at being able to afford the risk of the tour, let alone get a chance to perform in Fortnite. The Fortnite Festival main stage, as Epic Games calls it, is only for the biggest and most popular artists around, even though it's the smallest bands out there that could benefit the most from being able to perform there and have their music featured in the game. To me, the music industry's new plan here is very reminiscent of the early 2000s ringtone gold rush, and I think it will be just as unsustainable. I mean, let's face it, when was the last time you paid for a ringtone? Thanks for watching.